What is going on, people? Welcome aboard the Lifeboat. I'm Captain Calhoun at your service. How is everyone this morning? Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. We are almost there, making it through. Shout out to Kristen and Roberta who stopped by just to show love. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have a great day out there. Dale Cox, good to see you. Jane Aldrich, hello. Barbara, Caitlin, Robin Miners, good to see you guys. Welcome aboard. Flick Fox, Rona Cooley, Andrew B, Annika, Mocked, hello. We're going to talk about support systems today. I'm sure that each one of you is an expert on this by now because it's what we're engaging in right here as a support system. But it's not to be neglected, right? We shouldn't take it for granted. The power in our support system is vast. So let's talk about it. Real quick before we get started, let's get some ones up for my dad and anyone else out there feeling under the weather, anyone that needs a little extra help today. And also, if you so please hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you haven't already. Alrighty. I spent most of the time that I should have been prepping for this staring at my painting. And then like realizing that I need to be working and then like putting myself back to work and then like getting drawn in by the painting again. Whatever we're doing over there is working. It's working. Sandy Wandy, Jeremy Fowler, life is a dreamin'. Good to see you guys. Hello. So yeah, support systems. Recovery can be emotionally challenging. We all know about that. It's vital to have a support system. Safe space to express feelings, fears, frustrations, right? And that's what we're doing here. That is one of the purposes the Lifeboat serves. My stuff's a little messed up here. This helps us cope with the ups and downs, which there's going to be many. There's going to be a plethora of ups and downs, right? So let's get some people behind us and around us. Hey, how's Tommy Hi-Fi? Good to see you. MC Bunkle? He's doing all right. He's feeling a little better today is the word that I got. A little better is what he said. So I'm rooting for him. I'm sure he'll pull through here. The question is, how long will it take, right? How much suffering will he have to endure? I think he's on the up and up. I don't know if he's better, but he's definitely on the up and up. Thanks for asking, by the way. Annika says, this is a great subject. I love the subjects you choose for the streams. I could go off on this one. So good. So good thing I have limited characters in the chat. Lol. Well, feel free to go off as much as you can. That just means I'm doing something right. If these topics are resonating, sometimes I struggle to come up with a topic because I feel like we've done this one too recently or something like that, right? Because we do recycle through. But I don't remember the last time we talked about the support system. I can't even remember the last time. So obviously this is a great choice for today, right? I'm glad that it's resonating. It means I'm doing something right. Yeah, I don't think he has the C+ math, but he's got something. Something's been going around because Uncle Johnny was down for a while. I wonder how Mama Scoville's doing. I even have been feeling a little nasally, but I don't spend a ton of time with them. So hopefully I dodged the most of it, hopefully. I don't imagine that I'm going to wake up tomorrow feeling extra bad, but who knows? It could happen. Charlie Mullins, what's going on? Welcome in. All right. It's vital to have a support system. Helps us cope with the ups and downs, right? Also a safe space to express feelings, fears, and frustrations. This is going to help us stay accountable, right? We're going to keep each other accountable. A support system helps us stay accountable, knowing others are rooting for us, right? Wanting the best for us. This can be very motivating. It can help us stay focused on our recovery goals because if you're like me, you're very distractible. You know what I mean? So whatever we can do to help us to stay focused, to keep us on the straight and narrow, I will take it. Encouragement and motivation. Recovery involves conquering obstacles and setbacks. With a group of people around us, we see each other grow, right? We're going to see each other fall down, get back up. We're going to stay aware of each other's progress and our reasons for seeking recovery, right? We talk a lot about resting on our laurels, right? Getting some time under our belt and then feeling like we got it, right? And then kind of dropping the ball on some of the things that have been keeping us sober, keeping us going. This kind of ties directly into that, right? If we have a support system around us, we're all kind of focused on similar things. We can keep each other accountable. It's a whole lot harder to forget where I've come from and where I'm going and where I, stand to go back to if I drop the ball, right? When we have people around us that are focused on the same things, when we have people around us that also remember where we've been, right? It's a whole lot harder. It's a whole lot easier to forget in isolation. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot easier to self sabotage in isolation. So we have people around us. We have friends around us. We have our five, right? Our people that we can talk to about whatever. We can make a phone call, they'll pick it up. Um, these things are absolutely necessary. I can't tell you, I don't know where I would be without a support system, right? When I first got sober the first time around, it was my AA buddies, and we had quite the squad. We had a pretty solid friend group. And that being said, not all of these people were like more than acquaintances, right? But we all were focused on the same thing, regardless of how close we were. We all were focused on the same things, and we were keeping each other accountable. Whether or not Hayden and I are like really good buds, we're not afraid to call each other out because we know what's at stake, right? We've both been to the bottom and now we're coming back, right? We respect the struggle in each other, regardless of the substance differences, right? I never really did dope, right? I did some opiates, but that wasn't really my thing. But a lot of my really good friends were opiate addicts. But that didn't stop us, right? My point is that the differences and the similarities between us can all serve to bring us together, and us being together can serve to further our path forward, right? Um, and believe it, some of us are going to fall down, right? And we're just going to get back up. In fact, we can help each other get back up, right? Offer a helping hand. There are infinite benefits to the support group, right? Especially when love is involved. We're all operating from a place of love. So this is very, very powerful stuff. And it's wonderful to have a place to come and hang out with your friends. But it's also wonderful to like not feel the fear or the stress of like thinking about bringing something to the table and not knowing how it's going to land, right? Um, Having the ability to share stuff safely and not feel trepidatious, not feel worried about sharing is wonderful, right? Then we can really get to the bottom of what's irking us. Because I tell you what, the things that are driving our addictions, the things that are causing that itch, that scratch on the inside of your brain that is absolutely abhorrent, the things that are causing those are not simple, they're complicated, right? The things that are causing all that to happen are not comfortable to talk about. So having a place like this where we can talk about them changes the whole game. Changes the whole game. If stuff doesn't get talked about, then understanding never happens, right? So we have to talk about these things. Multifaceted benefits here. I'm going to take a coffee break. Yadira, good to see you. Mother Bird, hello, hello. Always a pleasure to see you, Yadira. Is that musical note an emoji? I love that song. Good morning, Sharona. I wonder if there's a relation between the name Jeremy and Friendly Troll because we have a couple Jeremys on the boat that are absolutely hilarious, but totally mean well. Rick Spicer, I didn't mean to miss you, bro. Good to see you, man. Monica says, I trusted the wrong people when I got clean. It was bad. Built a support system from scratch after a while of being shut down, avoiding my own best friends. At least the bad tend to weed themselves out. They do. And it's an interesting thing. It's like they can't keep it to themselves. At some point, they have to shout it from a mountaintop. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, if you give someone enough time, they will show you who they are 100%. 100%. The key is to not, put yourself out on a limb while you're waiting for that moment, right? I feel like my people picker is pretty good. Sometimes it's a little too acute. Sometimes I don't pick someone and they're totally fine. But I mean, for lack of a better explanation, right? We're just using silly words, but I think my people picker's pretty good. All right, one more sip. We'll get back in. This coffee is so friggin' good. Thank you, Robin. I love it. I love it. Alrighty. We talked about accountability, encouragement, and motivation. Recovery involves conquering obstacles and setbacks, right? We've said that with a group of people around us. Oh, we just said that. Practical assistance. Okay, this is some more professional stuff here. Finding treatment programs, attending support groups together, assisting each other with regular stuff that may feel overwhelming in early recovery, right? Not unlike a family. These are some of the things that a support group can do, right? Um, we all are, I say this a lot, are our own, like we are each of us a resource. So like for example, I can if I need a little bit of help, I could maybe get a hold of Jeremy Fowler, be like, hey, do you know any, you know, meetings or something in this area, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Because I know Jeremy lives XYZ, right? We all have knowledge that maybe someone else here doesn't have, right? So we can all share that knowledge. We can all ask each other questions about things that we don't know about. And maybe someone here does know about that, right? We are all, each of us, our own resource. And we should use each other as resources, right? And I don't, saying use each other sounds funky, right? But that's not you know what I mean, right? My dad's throwing me off here. Love you, Dad. Good to see you, man. I hope you feel better. It's good to see you, man. We've been asking about you. Hey, Auntie Scoville called me today, Sister Scoville, and asked about Thanksgiving. I told her we'd be there. I also told her that maybe we had talked about doing our own thing, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we are free to go either way with that, my man. While I've got you here, Dad. I know we hadn't talked because you're sick and whatnot, but let's make a plan when you feel better. If you're still here. We are each of us our own resources, and we should use each other as such, right? If there's something I don't know, maybe I could ask Robin about it, or Annika, right? Or Yadira, or Rick, or Dale. Um, and honestly, if you look back on some of the videos we've done, I often do. I use you guys as a resource all the live long day. But y'all should also be using each other as resources, right? I think it's pretty cool. We do when people aren't doing too well, they say so, right? At the boat. But also, I feel like a lot of us are doing pretty well often, right? Which is also a good thing to see. Um, so in sickness and in health, right? We've got each other's backs. And that is the essence of a support group, people. Andrew B says the wrong people in recovery, in quotes, I have had experience with. Sometimes my end goal is different than someone else's. Egos clash sometimes. Absolutely. Especially when you're getting like fresh sober. Egos are unhappy. You know, they're stomping around like, where'd the stuff go? You know? So I get it. I totally get it. And you know, I think every recovery circle is gonna have, and I don't know if the wrong people is the right way to say that, right? Everyone's on their own path, right? Everyone's got their own goals. Everyone's in their own unique place, especially in recovery, right? So, I mean, just because someone's not right for me, I don't necessarily think they're the wrong person or a bad person, but maybe it's not right for me, right? Our paths are not gonna align, but rather one of our paths is gonna overtake the other, and you know what I mean? I guess trying to break it down that far is probably foolhardy, but some people are for me and some people aren't. Some people are going to lift me up and some people are going to bring me down. And sometimes I have a hard time telling the difference. Usually I don't. Usually I do a pretty good job of that. I'm blessed in that regard. Kevin Hawthorne, good morning. How you doing, Kev? Good to see you, man. Every time I see your photo, Kevin, I think of Tyler the Creator, and I've never like zoomed in on it or anything, but it for some reason, I don't know if there's a picture of Tyler that looks like that or if I'm just imagining stuff, but every time I see that picture, for all I know, it actually is Tyler the Creator on the picture, but every time I see that, it makes me think of Tyler. Mocked says sometimes paths are just too far apart to bridge the gap. 100%. 100%. Really all we're doing here is building bridges, right? We're good old fashioned bridge builders trying to make connections. All right, all right, all right. Not unlike a family. So this also is going to reduce our isolation. How many of us here would be hanging out with our happy darn selves if we weren't here on the lifeboat hanging out with everyone else, right? I mean, me for sure. I know I'm not the only one. So we are reducing our isolation by hanging out. I keep looking this way because I have more stuff over here, but it is a little silly. I'll try to stay right here. Um, it's reducing our isolation, us coming together. This is social activity. This is connection. This is part of the purpose of the boat, right? We're a support system. We're a connection zone. We're a safe space. We are a lot of things. But showing up to the boat's never a bad move, right? This is going to help combat withdrawing from friends and family. This is going to help combat shame and guilt, right? It's a whole lot easier to feel shame and guilt when I'm all by myself. When I'm surrounded by the love of my peers and my friends, my family, it's a whole lot harder to feel shameful, right? Maybe guilty, but it's much harder to let shame thrive in that environment. Social interaction and connection, people who understand our struggles, right? People who understand our struggles. We've talked about the benefit of that already today. And also with a peer support group, we're going to be sharing experiences. I remember when I got sober the first time around, when I was in AA, we talked about giving advice and the dangers of doing so. And when in doubt, the move was always to share your experience. That way, the person who may need help, right, who's looking for advice or whatever, can take your experience and see if it applies to them or not, right? That way, because everyone's at a different place. What works for me might not work for someone else. So we talked about this concept of sharing experience rather than giving advice, right? Because then it's from your perspective in your situation. It's very specific. That way, people can kind of decide for themselves what's going to work and what's not. Crush it. Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Good morning. But all that to say, we can learn from the experiences of others here. Those who have successfully overcome abuse and trauma, hearing stories of others' recovery and resilience can offer hope and inspiration, which is literally the whole, like what I'm trying to do here: offer hope, inspiration, connection, love, right? Safe space. This can also offer valuable insight into coping strategies, right? We all are probably coping with things in our own ways. If someone is in need of a coping strategy, there is a plethora of strategies on the boat, right? Uh, we have the strategies that I lay down all the time, the ones that my dad lay down all the time, and then we have the strategies that every single boater has found for themselves, right? Because we all have our own unique version. None of us, I think, are doing the exact same program. You know what I mean? I think it would be a little weird if we were, because we're all so unique and different. So don't forget, your peers here have answers. They have solutions that have worked for them, right? Maybe some of it'll work for you. Maybe a piece of it, maybe just a piece. And then you'll be a little bit better off than you were before, huh? All right. We are flying through this. I knew we would, though. I knew we would. Jeremy Fowler says, I like to believe that listening to stories of hardship can give you that experience secondhand, and learning from experiences is the hard part. 100%. You know, I there's this concept in my head, like my dad made a bunch of mistakes growing up, right? And like there's this like sentiment for parents to like they don't want their kids to make the same mistakes they made. If I really pay attention to like the mistakes that my pops made, it's a whole lot easier for me to not make those mistakes myself. Although just the knowledge of the mistakes that he made isn't enough, right? I'll fall down the same holes every time, which is super interesting. I've done some of the exact same things that my pops has done without even knowing about it. And I'll tell him about it and it'll blow both of our minds that we walked the same path without knowing. But it's interesting. We can totally what did Jeremy say? Get that experience secondhand if we allow it, right? If we allow that to happen, we can just brush it aside. We can just not think about it that deeply, right? But if we really are looking for this, this is a another huge resource. Learning from each other's mistakes, right? When someone does fall down, we want to help them get back up, but there's also a lesson there, right? Why did they fall down? And how what was the manner of them getting back up, or what was the manner of them falling down? There's always a lesson to be learned. What's going on, Space Diesel? Welcome in. Singing that what is that, Lenny Kravitz? I love that song. Fly like an eagle into the future. Rick Spicer says, without the lifeboat, not sure I would ever quit. Started watching, joining my way before I thought of quitting. Wow, Rick. I'm so happy to hear that, man. Good for you, by the way. I'm always happy to have you on the boat, dude. It always brightens me up when I see you. You're one of the OGs. You've been here for years. Pretty stoked on it, man. Pretty stoked on it. How you doing today, Space Diesel? Jasmine, hello, hello. It's been 9 months that I've been in recovery after a 20-year addiction. I never thought I would live to see the day. God is great. Wow. Where's my trophy? This is awesome. Success stories make me smile and brighten me up. And Jasmine, you are a success story. You are a fresh beginning success story, but a success story nonetheless. You should be hella proud of that time. 9 months is epic. It's a heck of a lot of time. I tell you what, and often in my life, 9 months has been the point where I turn around. In AA, they give out chips at certain time periods. Did you guys know that there's a science behind that? When we get sober, our bodies detox over a long period of time, right? They talk about detox, like there's an initial detox for a lot of drugs. But as we get time under our belt, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, right? 18 months. Those time periods are scientifically proven to be where we are going to struggle. Our brains are going to have a hard time. They're detoxing off whatever we were using, right? So the 9-month mark is a time where we most likely will struggle. The year mark is a time where we most likely will struggle. But just know this, right? Just have this knowledge to empower yourself, right? It's not supposed to be easy. And you don't have to put the torch down, right? You can keep carrying that sucker, even through these difficult times. And I don't know, maybe you're having a wonderful time right now, but I just wanted to say that just in case you do run into some bumps in the road, know that that's how it happens. That's what's supposed to happen, and you've got this. Jess Gunn, hello, hello, hello. I'm here to procrastinate today. Arthritis bad and was gifted a beautiful set of sofas. That's what's up. I love a beautiful set of sofa gift, Problem is I need to cook my dinner. Now I need to click over here so I can read it. But because I moved everything in there, I can't get to the stove. Lol. Sounds like you need a helpful hand from a strapping young lad to move some couches around. Hopefully you get a full belly without too much struggle tonight, Jess. I'm glad you're in, though. I'm glad you're here. We'll help you procrastinate just fine. Hey, TK, good to see you. All right. We are also building healthy relationships, right? Recovery often involves rebuilding relationships, right? We've done a lot of destroying relationships in our addictions. So recovery often involves rebuilding relationships that have suffered damage or strain as a result. Support fosters healthy communication and trust, right? We're learning how to trust again. We're learning how to communicate in a healthy manner, right? Maybe we never knew how to do that, or maybe we did and just we're not in the habit of it now because we've been down and out for so long. You're learning to understand those close to us. When we were in our addiction, right? The most important thing was us and how we were going to get higher or what have you, right? Insert here what you were experiencing. But the point of all of that to say is we were numero uno, right? We were the focal point of all of the focus. So we're learning how to understand others, right? We're learning how to communicate healthily with others rather than just being focused inward all the time, which is definitely where I was. The support system is going to play a crucial role, providing emotional support, accountability, encouragement, social connection, um, and learning opportunities, right? We know this is pretty straightforward stuff here. And the likelihood of long term recovery is going to skyrocket if you have a support system. Recovering in isolation is difficult to say the least, is an understatement. And I don't know if it's possible or impossible, right? I don't think I'm qualified to speak on that note, but why would you make it hard on yourself when you could? I mean, I feel like getting sober involves all of these things, regardless of if we're going to foster these skills in a support group or not, right? Getting sober is going to involve me repairing relationships. It's going to involve me fostering healthy communication. It's going to involve me learning how to communicate healthily. It's going to involve me like relearning interpersonal interactions. It's going to involve me doing a lot of things that we're going to be doing in a social support group, anyways, right? So you might as well give yourself a leg up. You might as well just get involved. And if you are reluctant to get involved in a support group, I don't know what the hangup is. Maybe you're shy, maybe you're fresh off the addiction or whatever, and everything is just feeling really shameful and guilty. There could be a lot of reasons that people are reluctant to get involved in a support group. But I tell you what, the longer you put it off, you're just doing yourself a disservice. You could be working on these things right now. Tomorrow could be a day where you don't feel so uncomfortable talking to folks because you talk to folks today. I don't know. Everyone's different. And I just, I know that there have been plenty of times in my life where I did not want to speak to people. I did not want to be in public. I didn't want to be social. In fact, I still have days like that today. But those days are probably all the more important that I go and be social on those days, right? So all of that to say, thanks for being here, right? You're doing good things. You're doing good things for yourself, and you're doing good things for your friends. In conclusion, the support system plays a crucial role, right? We've said this a bunch, providing emotional support, accountability, encouragement, social connection, learning opportunity. Um, and I have word of mouth written at the bottom of this. I wonder what I was thinking when I put that there. Oh, often these things, support groups of all different kinds will be spread through word of mouth, right? So tell your friends about the boat. If you have found benefit here, tell your friends. Bring a friend that is in need, right? It might be a little weird and awkward for you guys at first, but that's how these things kind of go, right? Bring your friends, especially if you know someone who might need some help. Andrew B says, "This is me dipping a toe in the social waters of recovery." I think you're doing great, yo. You've been chatting the whole time, the whole live long day. And I don't have a whole lot more to say. I know that this is probably going to be a short episode, guys, but it's how the cookie crumbled today. I like it a lot. This is how the cookie crumbles. Doing heaven's work, Spanx. I love it. Well, thank you, Jeremy. That makes me feel good. I just trying to do my best. Beautiful. I love that movie. God has taken my bird in my bush. That's such a good movie. He is so mad at God in that movie, and then they become good friends. Morgan Freeman. I think it was a great actor choice there. Mother Bird says, Before he died, my husband wanted me to quit smoking. I still haven't yet. Well, I will say there's no time like the present, and, there's all the time in the world, yo. Don't beat yourself up. I think that's a huge little secret of recovery is I think we all like to beat ourselves up. I think we all like to really come down on ourselves hard for not doing what we think we should have done or what we thought was right or what have you. And I don't think that beating ourselves up and being hard on ourselves serves any good purpose. We're only doing our best, right? These things are not easy, especially nicotine, yo. So I think that your husband just wanted the best for you, Mother Bird. And honestly, you also most likely want the best for you as well. I think you have aligned, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I think both of you probably just want the best for you. So try not to beat yourself up for not quitting. But, also maybe we can look at it. We don't have to, but we could if we choose, right? Annika says, it took me forever to stop hiding and actually open up and share. Well, now it's like I never shut up. Love you guys. Thank you for always being here there for me. And I hope you know I'm here for you as well. Annika, were you a lurker for a long, long time before you started chatting? Or were you just talking in general? Because that's way cool. That's super duper cool. I've been working on you for a while, without knowing it, if that's the case. Trying to get people to open up and be a part of. I tell you what, I moved around a ton. That's what we'll do. We'll do some story time on the second half here. When I was young, because my parents were always running from their problems and moving around, I moved a ton. I had to start over and make new friends countless times, and it did not ever get easier. It was always like difficult. It's part of me is shy, and part of me is the most outgoing thing you've ever seen. And I don't know, maybe it's the Pisces in me, but I definitely have two sides. One side just wants to be all by itself, and the other side wants to swim with everything and everyone. Um, so yeah, starting over never got easier, yo. And it sometimes took me forever. Like every new start wasn't created equal, right? I often would start over and it would be really hard to come out of my shell. And then sometimes I would move and start over and like instantly wouldn't have that issue at all. When I moved from California to Illinois, I guess that one's a little complicated though. It was an interesting thing. I was like immediately popular because I was from California, which was really strange to me. But I was also like an awkward, weird, like I was still me. It was a very strange experience. Bunch of nice folks out there in Illinois that were really nice to me. Don't quit quitting, says Cindy G. January 7th, 3 years for my nicotine. Started 9 years old and 40 years later, not sure how many attempts it will stick when it is meant. Wow, I love that. We're gonna pull a trophy out for that too. Oh, I wish that was on screen. It's always so cool. That's awesome. 9 years old. 3 years from nicotine. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's a lot of time. I'm still on the nick, I have to say. I get this testimonial a lot, Andrew. I randomly came by following Tommy during all the Scientology protest stuff, just out of curiosity of it all, and didn't even know at first the chat was about recovery. I feel like we get a lot of folks stumbling their way in here, not really knowing what's going on, and then realizing what it is and staying, which I think is wonderful. I mean, that's pretty organic, if you ask me, right? It's pretty organic. Cindy G also says any Canadian wanting to stop smoking, there are free products available to help. Ontario for sure. Heck yeah, Cindy. Heck yeah. I know there's that one drug they were coming out with, the one that gives people crazy dreams and possible bad thoughts. Can't remember Chantix. I took Chantix for a little while and it was not good for my head. Put me in such a dark place I had to stop taking it. But it worked great for my friends. Chantix was a huge help for Sharona. It seems to be a miracle for some people, but I don't, my mental wasn't strong enough. And I don't think it's like your mental is either strong or not. I think it just, like all drugs, it interacts with people differently. And it put me in a very dark place, which was weird because I wonder what was going on in my life. I feel like I forget her name. Anyways. Jasmine says, I moved all over the country thinking that somehow it was going to be different. I'm a Pisces too, and I'm shy until you get to know me, and then I won't shut up. That sounds like me, Jasmine. And I have a bunch of friends that are also Pisces, and sometimes we swim together, and sometimes we're doing our own thing. It just is what it is. We're all very instinctual creatures, I find. Jeremy Fowler says, oh, also I want to share that I had a minor seizure from taking Praxlovid a month ago. Please be careful if you trust it, folks. Is that a quit smoking medication, dude? I'm really glad that you're all right. Seizures are terrifying. Caitlin says, my mom used Wellbutrin label under the supervision of her doctor to quit nicotine. My mom did as well. And I'm pretty sure she's still nicotine free. She had some cheat days, over the years, but she has been nicotine free for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder how many people have this experience, Annika. I thought I clicked the wrong channel the first time. Yeah, I wonder. I get comments a lot that are like, hey, what'd you do with Tommy? What are you doing on Tommy's channel? I get that kind of stuff all the time. But it's all right, It's all good. We're doing our thing. I'm not ashamed at all. Nicotine gum and patches are so expensive. The first time I put a patch on, I wanted one for every day for the rest of my life. It made me feel like Superman. It was very scary. I was like at work, like tweaking when I worked at Office Depot way back in the day. Way back in the day. COVID meds. Interesting. Unrelated, but it's the first and only time it's happened to me. Scary, dude. I'm glad you're okay. That being said, y'all, I think I'm gonna just shut it down a little early. I mean, I don't have to. I always, when I run out of like what I was gonna say, when I've said it all, I just feel a little awkward. I guess I don't have to. We can hang out all the live long day. There's no reason. Maybe we should flex our hanging out muscles because I need to get over that. If I'm gonna be streaming, which I obviously am, I've been doing this for like 10 months now or something like that. If I'm gonna be doing this, I need to get over the awkwardness. If I run out of things to say, it is what it is. I can't always have things to say. What am I, a word machine? What am I, a friggin' word machine? No. What have I been sleeping on? Shout out to Brianna and Scooby, by the way. I hope they're doing great today. I haven't seen them. I think we were hanging out with them yesterday, and I don't think I've seen Brianna in a few days. But shout out to Brianna Miller and Scooby Lee. Much love to our boaters out there. When they're not here, I'm thinking of them. Cindy G says you did too high of a patch than you're used to. 100%, 100%. They come in like stages, and I'm pretty sure I picked the biggest one, of course, because I'm a young, dumb, and you know how to finish that sentence. But 100% nail on the head here. But that was my first experience. It's kind of hard to go back now. I am a book reader, Caitlin. In fact, I have a ton of books, and the only reason you can't see them is because I don't have a bookshelf yet. That's something that's on my list of things to get, but things are really up and down lately. So trying to find a balance, get a nice routine going, right? And like make my priority list accurate. And the bookshelf just doesn't happen to be anywhere near the top of the priority list. So I have them stacked in my closet, unfortunately. But we'll say I'm pretty sure Flick Fox was the gifter of this little ditty here, but was gifted The Languages of Tolkien's Middle Earth, which is really cool. It's got all the two different Elvish languages. It's got the I don't know if you guys knew this, but Tolkien was a linguist. He created like 9 languages just for the Lord of the Rings. 9 languages, which is wild. There's also all the runes and stuff in here, and super fun. Super duper fun. Tells you how to pronounce stuff, and basically I'm going to be speaking Elvish before long, you know. But I love books. I love books. I have some self-help books. They're not my favorite, but I do have them. Takara is slowly turning me around to liking those kinds of books. She sent me home with Adult Attachment or something like that. The science of, or maybe it's called Attachment, the science of adult something something. I forget, but super duper self-helpy type book. But yeah, I'm super duper into books. I love reading. In fact, I don't want a TV. I want a bookshelf, a nice lamp, and a sweet reading chair. That's what I'd like. Smells of rich mahogany and leather-bound books in my house. You know, that's a dream of mine. Just have a nice reading nook that smells of leather-bound books and rich mahogany. What are some of my favorite reads? I can grab some. I'll have to remind myself with the visual. That's how my brain works. One sec. Game of Thrones is definitely one of my favorites. I have it right over here, actually. Ooh. I've read all of them at least twice. Still waiting on Winds of Winter. Probably will never cease waiting for that. We don't need to talk about it. I'm kind of mad. I like Star Wars books as well. I'm going to hit you with a bunch of fantasy, and maybe I'll bring something else. All right. I brought too many, but they all hold a special place in my heart. We'll start with like the weird stuff. I said I like Star Wars. This is like from the Old Republic. If you're into Star Wars, this was like when the Sith were Legion. The Old Republic, meaning the first time that the Republic formed was like thousands and thousands and thousands of years before the Battle of Yavin, which is Episode 4, the very first one, right? A New Hope, right, where we meet Luke and Obi-Wan and everybody the first time. So like thousands of years before that, this book, and it's a trilogy. And this guy on the front is the creator of the Rule of Two, which by the time the movies came around, that's how the Sith operated, right? The bad guys, the dark side. There was only two. There was a master to embody the power, right? And there was an apprentice to crave it. So this guy invented that rule before this book. In fact, in the beginning of this book, before it comes to conclusion, the Sith were legion. There were many, many, many Sith. There was lots of infighting, right? Kind of what you would expect from an evil brotherhood. Also, this is probably going to be my next read. I just finished Master and Margarita, another classic. Both were gifts from boaters, but now I think it's time to bust into this one. I've had a sufficient amount of time to chew on Master and Margarita. I think I can pick up something new now, and I don't know what to expect from that one. I'm a big Stephen King guy. I haven't read this one yet. I have a Stephen King short story book as well. And then there's a Stephen King book called Needful Things. I used to own it. I lost it somewhere along the way, but I was like, I want to say like a third of the way through that book, and then I lost it. And then taking a departure from fantasy, this is like, I want to say like a spiritual teaching kind of book. The I Ching, this is widely regarded as the oldest book known to man. I believe I might be quoting that wrong, but it is one of the oldest texts that we know of. And I think it's really interesting. Also, there are different translations of the I Ching, all of which have very unique tone, have a very unique, not only tone, but like perspective. They're all coming from a different place, but kind of say the same thing, but in different ways, I guess. So my buddy James, when my most recent trip to Salt Lake, we were all hanging out and we're all kind of into the I Ching, me and Quentin and James. And James is also a bookie. He's very studious. He's got like four different translations of this book. We busted them all out and rolled some I Chings, which I'm not going to really get into. If you guys are interested, we can kind of go through what this book is, and we could do an episode on it. It's pretty interesting. Oh, there's a message in here for Taji from a girl. Taji must have given this to me. What was I saying? Oh, we all sat down and rolled I Chings with all the different translations, and it's so wild and interesting, the different like perspectives that they were written from or translated, really, because it's one book that's being translated, right? An ancient book that's being translated by different people, right? So super cool, super interesting stuff. Kind of like a fortune telly thing as well. But those are some of my favorites. Those are some of my favorites. I neglected to mention Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I guess we have the Languages of Middle Earth, but those are also some of my favorites. I've read a ton of books, guys. I mean, I'm sure that there are people in here that have read way more than me. My mom is the queen book reader, but I come by it honestly. 8 bookshelves, some extremely big, some small, but I still have 3 boxes of books to unpack. It's a serious family addiction. Let's go. You're going to fit right in. I'm going to fit right in. I'm really excited to get my bookshelf journey started. Because, I want to show off how studious I am, But no, really, I would just like a nice place for my books to live instead of a pile in the closet, It's kind of depressing. The Lord of the Rings audiobooks read by the Gollum actor? I don't know if I could handle it, guys. I don't know if I could handle it. What are smart meetings? I don't know what smart meetings are, Mother Bird. Did I misspeak? Yeah, that's the ADHD. I get that as well. I tell you what, if you don't dream of a proper library, are you even a book nerd? No, I totally agree with this. There is a Habitat for Humanity nearby, and that's where I got my couch. I will be getting this done. It's not on the top of the priority list, right? I really want to get like a vehicle rolling so I'm not so isolated. Um, and is that the last? That might be the last thing on my priority list. I think everything else is moving pretty swell. Right now, the vehicle is on top of the priority list, which I have. I just have to get it repaired. Any thoughts of making a bookshelf as a side project? I have 100% had this thought many times. Um, I don't know if I have the tools necessary. I used to have a wonderful tool collection, but when I was living in Salt Lake, most of my good stuff got stolen from the shed. So now I have like a sad graveyard of tools. I'm sure I could make it happen though. This is something I could look into 100%. And I do love building things, making things with my hands. I was a framer for a while. Do you guys remember that? Was I you guys might not have been here for that. When I first started helping my dad with the boat, I was just in the back, like kind of producing and stuff. And I was still working as a framer with my buddy. And I remember I took a nail in the neck from a nail gun one day. Like my collarbone literally saved my life because that's one of those arteries that like sprays. I would have been dead in like 4 minutes. But yeah, that was I decided to stop doing work like that. So the last time I did, some sort of building was when I was framing. So I do have a lot of experience. I just, I'm not trying to get nails in the neck anymore. I didn't put it there myself. I promise. Someone shot me in the neck with a nail gun on accident. I was like holding this piece of wood up, this plywood, and my buddy was like facing me on the ladder, and I was kind of just on the ground holding it up. We were framing a drop for air conditioning, and he put the nail gun up, and it blasted right through the plywood and hit me right here in the neck. I still have the white tee that what I was wearing. It pierced the white tee. Maybe just buy one, Captain, just to be safe. I could not tell that story. I'm pretty handy, guys. Although most of the serious injuries I've accrued are self-inflicted, not on purpose. But like this one, smushed my finger in a hydraulic press. That sucked. But yeah, manual labor is not really for me, guys. I've done a ton of it, but that's why I don't do that stuff anymore, really. Spanx is Calhoun's nickname here. I think his dad gave it to him as a kid. Yeah, I got a lot of spankings as a kid, so I came to be known as Spanx. Well, Caitlin, if you feel like sending me any of your hand-me-downs, I'll take them. It's probably a lot easier just to take them to the bookstore down the street, though. Just a thought. I will put them to wonderful use if you so choose. Thank you for sharing this resource, Annika. Exactly what we're talking about today. We are each a resource. Something cool about the nub, though, it still kind of bends. There's just not a lot of muscle there. There's not a lot of like material or bone for the material to pull on, but there's still a knuckle there, and it doesn't fit anymore. All you need is some boards and a chisel and a mallet and a drill, or a little less clean looking. A skill saw, miter box with proper clamps. Interesting, Incarnasoul. Sounds like you've done this a time or two. This is definitely something that I could figure out. I don't know if I will or if I'll get one. I will do one of the two, though. A bookshelf is in my future. Calhoun, you can say you nailed it. That's funny. I did nail it. I mean, I got nailed at least. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it here. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with me until the end. Thanks for hanging out extra with me here at the end. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It makes a real big difference for us. And man, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this episode. I feel like I've gotten to know each one of you a little bit more. I feel like we've come to an understanding. I feel like we've grown together. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But much love, all of you. You guys are the best. Shout out to the mods, the crew. You guys are the best mods and the best crew a guy could have. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you later on. If my dad is still feeling under the weather later, I might jump on and take his place, do my rounds, do my duty. Uncle Johnny jumped in yesterday, which was fantastic. I'm just getting all kinds of hiccups now. But I may do that today. We'll see how Dad feels. But other than that, we'll be painting tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Much love all right? We'll see you later.